Hello everyone. With updates on my channel, it's been a long time since I've uploaded anything, and a lot of it is just because of circumstantial issues where I have to say that I had to take a step back on what was hoping to be progress in directions of my career life and certain things, and I'm taking the appropriate steps to do what I can to figure out how I'm going to plan and approach my next attempt to be able to find some success, as it's been a bit difficult. Feeling comfortable and confident to push out actions, and a lot of implication of holding off hobbies just because uh, I like to keep these places in it. I like to keep these experiences in places as a place of enjoyment rather than overthinking in repercussion of like stress or what so. So uh, if you don't feel great, it's hard to sometimes feel like I can relax on things. Maybe that's just me. um, anyways, in relation to some in relation to experience of watching things on social feeds, there was something that caught my attention, and it came in relation to the Sundance Festival for films being uploaded and prepared for. So one I can't help but notice a good action, and I felt I wanted to do something as well to return something that was done to make a person feel good, and hope to return the favor in hoping that and check out her upcoming work, and hope that anyone checking out my content feels engaged and interested to see some of the expectation of the skills of the actress, or like how they're going to turn out for the movie. Because I can tell you, after reading Amy Lippert book, it's not too bad. It's a 300 page read book. Um, I wasn't sure how to gravitate. They talked about in their talk references when they were looking forward for their work, that this would be a book related to something they worked on during the period of pandemic, and it relates to addiction. And addiction is something that is very well explored, and can cause problems on a large basis in any form of activity on a large scale. But let's hold off and just talk more about the expectations of the book. So the book kind of summarizes. So a key point on implication: if you were pulled in by the trailer itself, um, then and don't want any more spoilers of expectations, hold off from continuing this video, as this is going to go in depth of the review of what this novel is. So there's a fair warning to all of you guys who are drawn to wanting to enjoy their cinema experience in a different way, having been pulled in whatever direction. Why I come to take a stance is like, if this doesn't appeal to you, if the plot didn't appeal to you on that short synopsis, I hope to add a bit of more layers of like what you call of complexity to see expectation, and maybe skills involved that could be interesting to see if you get pulled off or get convinced with their performance onwards. So again, the book is more in lines of a slice of life, and it explores the Isles of Scotland, and it is and explores a little girl who grew up with a very difficult background, had a very difficult background. So there is some comedy relief for anyone in relation to reading this. So the story, when I was reading it, it's all unleashed into a first-person narrative. So the girl is writing, and you're taking incorporation of what she describes in her perspective, her direct perspective, like she's writing a journal. If that makes sense. So despite being in a problematic family, a good portion of it could be from like problems problems that despite being in a problematic family, it doesn't change the attitude that the girl has in terms of her growing up. She has a caring attitude despite the fact that she had a father with genetic a mental illness disorder. So the father would have mental development issues at a young age. It was stated from having states of mania to depression, which is inclined to bipolar disorder. Yeah, that's it. And generally some form of psychosis in diversion to possibly mood, but it was explored that the psychosis and delusions that were may be in more lines of schizophrenia. I think there can be mood related delusions, and there can be associated disease incorporation. I think different medical management would be in line with it, or actually psychosis is treated. It was a similar drug. I'm not gonna go into detail about it. It's gonna vary, and also in establishment, and I'll only make a reference to like my textbook of what I used. Practice are gonna have some certain differences, but like I generally think they do use some form antipsychotic for both cases. Just be aware that a mood disorder to the extreme end can cause psychosis separately to schizophrenia as a medical condition, which cause there's a lot of different subtypes of schizophrenia. Do you need to know all the details of it? It depends on your college. But so I'm not going to talk about that because this is not a in-depth report about that and for you to study what. So the explication of the offer, Asha stated this person is so crazy that this person needed to have a very physical intervention of ECT and appropriate sedation. So PRN relevance of how the paralegal to be able to sedate this patient if they ever got out of hand. So I will say that he still managed to get out of the mental hospital and found an insane woman to start a family who was a very religious mother. So there's hope for everyone in life, but so there's hope in everyone in life. But he's not the focus of the story. Let's get back to the important character, which is the depiction and story build up from the girl. So I'd like to highlight that wanting to fit in appears a very normal reaction for anyone. Growing up and being different in a lower social or economic group might play on their comfort zone. There are cases in America where young adolescents not being able to fit in with peers results to violent measures, from access to gun cries, leashing out in violent manners, to having issues with isolations, which led to people being driven to pathological thoughts of sinking that can lead to suicide. People with poor support groups are more likely to feel a worse repercussion from negativity compared to stronger people that are able to take in negative emotions and channel them a bit better, or let that reside for them, let that sink in with them for a while. And even though it hurts, they still kind of carry on. At such a young age, having been exposed to matters that are quite serious, I feel are quite distressing and can affect a young person's growing mentality as they discover life and what it means to them. They are memorable too, and key point drives of the story, seeing this character development, are intense aspects to see how the story gets driven as a series of unfortunate events in her life growing. I feel contributed to the developments of having a problem with personality disorder. I wasn't sure when I first got it. It was like there were some hints to say, okay, and and then later on there's more problems within the family, and at a young age where she's trying to form bonds and developments. This can affect attachment issues, right? So her parents later divorced, and this may later added, and this may also have been added later as she reaches adolescence to start engaging in vigorous, pleasurable activities that some people would consider high risk on a health-related concern. So like we're like, oh, do this or that. So we would be concerned on that, but like at the end of the day, I know people still binge drink, have a go with a few cigarettes, and they're not dead. But we will write, this guy is crazy. This guy is on the extreme here. Oh, right. So like, I just mean on a health perspective, like there are high risk activities from how I understood of reading it. I feel this is going to be interesting to watch how she portrays, as I don't think I've watched enough of her work, of some of the films. I've already quoted stuff like Little Women. I don't think this one was in this one. There's another one. I think there are 2 words. Oh, See How They Run, and I can't remember the next one for that. I didn't watch Armor Right, thinking that could have been potentially quite good. And it wasn't too bad. They're very classic features in that relation to saying. She's pretty, but I just watch on that aspect. It's because of memes that I feel I was engaged in certain things more than I should be. Okay, so I maybe leave that out. I feel this is going to be interesting to see how she portrays this as, and which is very interesting. Lady Bird might be good for watch, but again, not really a priority what I'm doing right now. So, something to do on Felicia. Okay, so from her action and behavior from her novel, I would like to establish that fits into the medical diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, and it's something I do want to flesh out for this novel review, and will be fun to watch in the perspective. So it's going to be interesting to see how she plays that character and where she gets her inspiration or what so. The girl has developed mood swings and has unstable interpersonal connection. A good portion of such distressing behavior relates to having poorly defined formed identities to which she can develop confidence from due to a lack of strong personality figures in her life for what she wants to be. This becomes a problem in the situation which leads her to feeling emptiness in her life that leads to having thoughts that become destructive to her well-being, such as suicidal thoughts and self-harm. This also includes acting in a manner that may establish imagined abandonment. Why I think this is a personality disorder, her current behavior matches with stability in her life and functioning in her everyday routine. Having felt that attachments that waver in the very normal for people to go through as they go through to figure out who they are and must reach guidance from it must reach guidance that their parents can't provide anymore at some point to develop it. I would also include to say that this is strongly suggests a personality disorder because of the resources of self harm in the book that to deal with forms of avoiding emptiness in her life. The character later develops some form of potential romantic interest in long term life, but it's not emphasis on the story right now, and the phases of her addiction to which she has some insight has taken control of her life. The novel explores an interesting concept of a journal. However, my perspective on it relates personally to giving someone a manner of reporting her addiction habits can be a bit ambiguous towards a source of info that aims with her realistic life on personally having interacted with addicts, as one of the issues that established is how they report their actions honesty for a person to make decisions related to her care, as they may always lean towards leniency to their enjoyment for their addiction. Things are judged in a contextual basis, and that would relate to what their addiction is. For alcohol addiction, I hold a stricter perspective. If it is causing as it is causing emotional distress in her life. These type of conditions usually require long-term dialectic behavioral therapy, and it can cause very intense levels of psychosis in relation to her viewpoint image of relationships. The level of how this character is affected, I would say, is not extreme end, where the symptoms are at a level where psychosis is a prevalent issue of her characterization, but there's a lot of potential seeing how they want to display this in a movie or not. If the girl have episodes where she has intense thought process of her existing relationships or not. The character she plays is a dipso, which I think is a cute way to describe someone with her issues overlapping with ditzy, which is a fair way of describing a girl who is desperately trying to cope with the problems but having attachments to drinking. Yeah, isn't it? A dipso. Oh. Automatically, I've already thought of a preliminary basis. Does she fit the criteria of someone that has alcohol dependence of anyone interest? She checks out for the cage questionnaire, which pushes out all the possibility of other alcohol-related screening things you may wish to look at. All right, to the basics before we think that she's gonna kill someone one day. A personality disorder is something that is very hard to change once established. However, the character goes through a long-term process which results in achieving something that is very hard. And I think this would be a fun thing to watch throughout the film as a gradual process towards the end. Her case of drinking is a huge aspect towards the direction of what can potentially be explored if her habits is chronic, and binge drinking is related to having someone stop suddenly would lead to deterrent consequences, which would include potential seizures as one of the biggest consequences to be worried about if there can be a risk towards emergency admission. So this is never described in the book. There could be, yeah, sorry. Unstable self-image makes me think of potential overlap relating to physical image distortion and perception, as I feel women do take consequence to their body image that relates to their ability to secure resources to achieve happiness. Just the volatility of emotion may contribute to issues with self-esteem related to her behavioral habits. A good turn of the film relates finally after cycles of talking about her lifestyle from drinking heavily and alternating jobs will relate to returning to the countryside where she starts to go home, to my understanding, and explore the Isles of Scotland. I feel the elements of this book was explored where she finds ambergris, so from the carcass of a whale. It is assessed as it is highly valued and was able to find ways to make money from it. This is the first step where the character finally breaks the cycle of her behavior. Her change of environment returning home would be a drastic implication of seeing if it has any effect with changing her current behavioral habits or not. A good aspect of the film also relates to sheep herding that was a common practice in farms. This is not the only aspect where I see her behavior transition to something constructive. The overlap where her curiosity about liking ambergris and finding a book along with searching for aspects of her environment that she finds enjoyment, such as a corn crake, and relating to her conquest for bird watching to that of Moby Dick searching for his conquest of a whale was greatly for me seeing that made changes to her lifestyle by living in the adventure of her fictional story. I feel, from my standpoint, she took a step of breaking her cycle of addiction in a better constructive manner, and was a breath of fresh air for me instead of her cycle of negativity, depression, which she expressed from her lifestyle previously. There is a huge amount of satisfaction as she develops her light intelligence in relation to her mood, which is heavily linked to her menstrual cycle, and she records it in relation to cycles of the moon, which was cute actually. I like that. Um, the character tries to be in tune with nature to help her feel at peace with connections with herself, which is a massive progress towards her well-being. Over usage of the internet, the hyperconnection can make feel of people feel lonelier. Trying for the screen, creating a shift in dissociation and develop maturity in your thought process on how we see connections. Going out there, living life, and feeling at peace for greater stability in the long run is the better way of finding what I call dealing with those discomforts that someone may be feeling. Uh, Over the long run, she still drinks and couldn't be a complete abstinent as the person she was suffering from emotional stability. The habits of those prone to addiction may relate to other patterns of behavior which can become addiction of other habits that have potential destructive nature to their person's ability to function, such as gambling, smoking, where it becomes detrimental. This is when things prevent you from reaching your goals. When you meet someone you like, you see people that are going to bring the best out of you. It makes you feel cool. I can go. This was quoted, and it was a pretty good quote. I can go online to find a new person and escape into person's online profile, wanting to obliterate my personality wisdom. I feel this is a great way of how people are finding internet afflictions and attachments, and it's not healthy because some of it. I'm afraid to say some of it is selectively chosen. I do that for my LinkedIn as well. I'm trying to find ways to do that particularly, but we'll see. So only the part that they choose to show you is part of what's a somewhat healthy delusion. But it can be fair not to make too many unreasonable expectations from them. Meeting your heroes may sometimes lead to disappointment and possibly vulnerability. However, an argument can be placed that pushing yourself to see the other end of a wall all along broadens your horizon and find new opportunities to get what you were hoping to achieve for yourself. Is it okay to live in a delusion? If it means you're pushing yourself, I wouldn't intervene. The emotional validity, which is okay when you're young, setting yourself some mental boundaries, but you need better, more intelligent people will set yourself mental boundaries to help with function of your mental health. So this is a bit of control. This is a bit of holding back, so of your exposure. Because I'm gonna tell you a lot of very successful people. I keep finding things that I like about them, and I can easily get attached thinking they're really cool, right? So her action and sharing her action relates to usage of social media. My stance is because so her actions of sharing her actions relate to usage of social media. My stance is right now I liked her how she used it. So she is taking pictures of nature and expressing her feelings of her enjoyment of it, and this is still forming connections on how she interacts with the real world, and I approve of it. I strongly enforce this way of using social media. The controversy of using social media may not always enforce validation for the correct reasons, with many examples of fads that have caused harm to a person's well-being. Solstices periodic changes scenery from different parts of the globe, which she used to monitor was her behavior with addiction with alcohol. This is interesting. This is something that's I would have to watch the movie, or I can go out of my way to look for it myself. But I'm reading the book and I'm kind of curious how they're going to depict it in the film. And I'm not so stressed that I feel that I need to go out there and figure out how the depiction of the soldiers is. But I thought this was interesting reading it, and if I had access to the film, I'd probably watch it and see. It's just oh wow shit, okay, interesting. So this yeah, okay, so different parts of the globe which she used to monitor. So I'm kind of curious how she's linking this, and for her linking her pattern behavior was the movement of sword stints, which I found again cute, is progressing herself. So she's connecting things with natural phenomenon to how she's making decisions to help stop her. And again, that gives you her an immersion of connection to the world, right? her character has massively improved from the start of the novel. The complexity of it may be explained in the movie, which I also require some visual stimulation, and I think would be cool if they allowed that part of the film or not. She's developing great traits, which you would not expect from the characters how the original character originated. It was a bit depressing hearing that cycle of depression, over drinking, uh, uh, casual relationship, not be able to fixate on a partner. Taking pleasures in her needs was more simple forms of addiction where she took swimming that has multiple health benefits. Breaking old patterns of bad addiction, calling it cold water high, something she conceptualized herself. So like, you know, all the exercise build up and release of natural endorphins to like feel better. I've experienced a bit of those myself as well. So like she's linking it and like kind of configuring her own language with it, which is cool. It sounds to me like some form of like it shows a great insight of her intelligence, right? Her intelligence developing. Folklore relates to selkies, so this is explored in the film. It's a kind of like aspect in relation. I felt it was worth mentioning because it's in the Isle of Scotland, and she takes the stance of like if selkies lost their skin, they would not be able to transform back into humans. She explains that she wants to transform herself because she says she wants to lose her skin or something. She imagines herself transitioning in her habits relating to swimming, seeking change about stuff she has insecurities about. A bit of projection of poetry, as I mentioned, converging concept folklore to her real life action. The concept that can be challenged should be relating to that sobriety doesn't mean not being able to enjoy life to the fullest. The first teacher relapsed into depression at the start, but for me, the character's development in relation to her education, and she was able to build some fortitude and project confidence in herself despite feeling negativity in life. It's great satisfaction to see how she's become a stronger person. So again, this is a shout out from the UK, and I hope you enjoyed engaging in these kind of reviews where I kind of like explore thought process. I've done quite a few already, and I hope you find them interesting. Yeah. There is a movie that I want to check out. Dune 2 particularly. I was thinking about Willy Wonka in a more passive manner, but my situation didn't feel too great right now. I mean, I didn't even go for my usual casual alright action movie. But if you because if we took a break, I don't know how much of an audience got. But if you guys like to keep checking out the films, and I like to keep expressing, and you guys can continue to if you guys engage and connect, that encourages me to do stuff. Like I tried a bit already, giving you guys an incentive of a reward at the end, but like it's overly passive from why I take a stance of like what you guys are what my viewers are interested in is like, nah, I'll just play more games or something. I don't know, man. Thank you very much. Bye.
Hey everyone, thank you for putting the effort to watch the effort I placed on making something of an entertaining video. I hope you enjoyed it. As I said before, it's not forced, but like I really would appreciate any contribution and support you give to this channel, as it gives me more motivation and more incentive to enjoy more video creating and content creation. If you find that the content drifts away at any point, you can always subscribe. It's no big deal. Again, it doesn't mean much. It doesn't take much from you, but it means a whole bunch of me, and it would feel great if you would just reward my efforts of trying to be positive and contributionary. Thank you so much. Bye.